Yesterday, I promised to show you a clip of a monk doing the meditation on the corpse or the cemetery meditations. This monk is none other than Ajahn Viradamo. Any of you heard of him? Ajahn Viradamo? No, none of you. Okay, then this is a good time to introduce to you. I have arranged to watch together of this whole talk with him. I think Sai Kiang was there, Lin Toy was there, yeah, and Albert was there. Okay, let me share screen. Yeah. This whole talk is really good if you want to watch it. I will share the link in the chat. Yeah, but this particular section I want to particularly show you related to this last exercise in mindfulness of the body, series of cemetery meditations, contemplations of the body's disintegration after death through direct confrontation with the corpse. Okay, need to check whether I have share sound. Share screen, share sound. Okay. Okay, without further ado, I'm going to play. Let me know with a thumbs up later whether the playback is okay. I will mute myself.
And again, got a bit more smiley, a bit more bright. And then I was in New Zealand, and I got a phone call from my brother, and my mother was living in Ottawa, and she was already 86. She'd fallen and broken her pelvis. And my brother said she was in a home. He couldn't take care of her right away. I just said, fine, I'm there. And 2 days later, I was in Ottawa. And then I saw, well, Mom's too old, and I just moved in with her in her condo. So it was another experience, because I'm not a kind of condo dweller. I'm not a natural, I'm a forest monk, that's the kind of habitat I thought I needed. But I was very close to my mother. I loved her dearly, and I never had a chance to care for her. I never, couldn't buy her birthday presents and take her out to dinner, and certainly I didn't do grandchildren. So I was a good son. I'd come and visit, but I really wasn't a good son in the way that I could care for her. So now I had a chance. And I was pretty free of my responsibilities in New Zealand, so I said, yeah, okay, this will be interesting. So I moved in with her, and then I nursed her through that kind of experience of her pelvis, and she got her walking back, and she kept asking me, when are you going? In a kind of fearful way. I'm not going, I'm staying. When are you going? No, Mom, I'm staying. You sure? Because I'd gone all those other times. So I ended up living with her for 9 years. And that was a beautiful time. It got pretty exhausting at the end. 24/7 caring for an elderly person, even though you love them dearly. The old nerves were on the edge. But this was not the same kind of burnout I got before. And I often contemplate, why was it different? Why was this different to that experience in Amaravati? And I think it was the love. Because now my giving wasn't out of a sense of duty or whatever, but now it was like because I really love my mom. And there's just this capacity to serve from love. And I found amazing amount of energy from that. And I found that the tiredness was no longer a kind of psychological tiredness. It's just, this old guy's tired, that's all. But the compassion and the love and the joy I had to be with her, I found, this is powerful, this is good. So I had 9 years of being able to be with Mom and care for her and get to know her again. And then I just would use that opening of the heart to consciously keep the heart open. And again, I started to, I regained that heart practice again, and I saw not only can the heart and the guts be an indicator of fear, but also, obviously, it's the indicator of love, deep, deep love. And I began to use that in the way I communicated with my mother. So I would, whenever I would do something for her and she would thank me and make a meal for her or help her with her washing or clean the house or do all the things that one does in caring for someone, and she would thank me with a big smile, and I'd see she's really happy that I was there, and then I was really happy for her. And that happiness for someone else's happiness, we have a word in the Pali we call mudita. And mudita is, we call it kind of the empathy of joy. When you see someone, like if you see a child and the child has made a little drawing, the child is really, really happy with the drawing, and you see the child's happiness, that kind of happiness, that's mudita. So it had a lot of, although my mom had a lot of physical issues, her mind was bright, her mind was clear, so a lot of mudita. We had a really nice time together. And so that became a profound sense of being with her, but also it profoundly opened my heart because I kept using that. I kept using that relationship for becoming more and more conscious of the heart. So that teaching, going back what Luang Por Sumedho said, consciousness is the escape shot. I said consciousness is also the entry point into this deep love and this deep silence. So halfway through those 9 years, I got a bit lonely for monastic life. I was teaching in Auto and so on, and I asked the group in Auto, I said, is anyone interested in starting a forest monastery? And people were interested, so we got some land nearby, and we started the monastery where I'm presently living, Tisarana. And that was 9 years ago. And I would go every weekend, and a fellow monk of mine, Ajahn Kuslo, great monk, he came, he was in New Zealand, he came and helped me, and he ran the monastery for 5 years, for the second half of the time I was with Mom, and I'd go every weekend. And that became my respite. It really helped me tremendously. I could get some rest and go back and be with Mom. And so then my mom died in March 22nd, 2011. And when doctors kept wanting her to go to the hospital. She said, I don't want to go to the hospital. Okay, we have to do it alone. Doctor, go to hospital. No, okay. And she died in about 4 days' time. I was I wasn't a medical guy, so it was pretty confusing. And I only realized what was happening after about 2 days. And I got some friends in. And then she died quite peacefully in her bed. I was with her. And then I had been thinking about this a lot. So when Mom dies, what are you going to do? I said, I'm not going to let the mortician take her away. She's my mom, right? So I told the mortician, wait 36 hours or something. Don't come now. I washed her body. I had a friendly doctor. The doctor came and did the medical certificate. I did some chanting. And then I meditated with Mom's body for the next 36 hours. We can do this in Canada. I don't know if you can do this in California. But I thought, she's my mom. You can't do this. And I thought, this is important. Just to whisk her away after I've been, she's my mom. And not to take this opportunity, not to contemplate death, to me seemed wrong. It just kind of seemed really wrong. So I had prepared my mind for that. So then I was trying to, I was working with my brother to organize the funerals on the phone a lot, and people would come and visit. It was March, so it's still cold. I turned off all the heating, so the room was quite cold, and I opened the window, so it was quite cold. And I just would go in, maybe, and just sit with Mom for a couple of hours, and I'd go out again. And it was very powerful. You imagine, huh? Very, very powerful contemplation, very, very peaceful. And then after about 36 hours, okay, that's enough. This is too much. That's enough. I phoned the morticians, and they said, this is not going to be pretty. You better get out of the room. I said, okay. And they took her, and then they took her to the mortuary, and then we had a funeral a few days after that. And then I escorted her body to the crematorium, pushed her body into the ovens, pressed the button, burned her. Then the guy at the crematorium said, so what do you want to do with the ashes? I said, well, can I keep some bones? Because I knew I'd seen that they put the bones into a centrifugal grinder, and that's why it becomes ash. And the guy said, oh yeah, you can pick bones, and we can do a fine or a medium or a coarse grind for you. It was like coffee. I said, oh really? So sort of unexpected. I said, well, I'll take out some bones, and if you did me a medium, that would be fine. So I came back a few days later, and I took the ashes, and then my mother had asked me, we got a bit more time, I'm kind of running on, just to finish, because it's a good story. My mother was a refugee from Latvia, always thinking of Europe. And she asked me before she died, she said, well, can you just take my ashes to the Atlantic and then put them in the Atlantic, maybe they'll float to Latvia. And that was such a poignant thing to say. So I took about a quarter of her ashes, a couple of friends, and we did a kayak trip along the coast of Nova Scotia. And then the second day and we were camping out, second day of the kayak trip, myself, Adrian, and Ken, Adrian had ashes of her dog. Ken's father had died 2 years before. He had his father's shaving brush. And I had Mum's ashes. So we went out, it was a clear day. We went out from shore, and I chanted the chants of reflection. I poured Mum's ashes in, and Adrian poured the dog's ashes in. And my friend had tied the shaving brush onto some stones and chucked that into the ocean. He was crying. And then we just carried on with down the coast, and it was very, very profound kind of feeling, being out in nature. And there was a group of seals. What do you call a group of seals? A family, a pod? Bunch of seals, maybe 100. And when they saw the 3 boats coming down, they all jumped off the shore, and it seemed like the teenagers started to play around us. They would come up and pop up their heads and float away. And there was one on the shore which didn't come out, and I watched, and I realized it was dead. And it was so powerful, you know. Here's life, here's nature, and all these young, interesting animals, and then there's the dead one. And my mother I just put her ashes in. So that was a very, very powerful experience. Then I took another half of her ashes to Latvia, and I put them in the sea, very close to when she fled as a refugee in 1944, near Ventspils. We rented a boat, and I took out about 1 kilometer and put the ashes, and the rest of the ashes I planted a couple of trees near my window. So I think I did Mum well. So now I live in this monastery.
So that's the clip that I wanted to show you today. The first time I watched this talk, so tears streaming down my face. I think it was so beautiful how he took care of his mom for 9 years, nursed his mom in her old age, and then finally did a meditation on her after she passed away, and then put her ashes to where she comes from Latvia, where she fled as a refugee. I think that was so beautiful the first time I watched it. The second time I watched it, I still shed tears. Yeah. Even just now watching this last part, I was a little bit teary as well. How do you find the clip? Okay, seems like you like it too. I recommend you to watch the whole thing if you have the time. It's really a good story. Okay, today I'm not going to go through extra materials. Any of you would like to share anything? Just a chit chat maybe. Tomorrow I will make a few announcements. Yeah, I want Sai Kyang to be here when I announce it as well. Yeah, so today I don't have anything else other than the clip. Any of you would like to say anything or share anything, comments on the clip maybe? Maybe a few words about the clip. How about Sister Shomi? Yes.
I just wanted to share that for those of you who are curious, actually Ajahn Viradamo is an excellent teacher, especially when we are trying, for those of us, well, I find it very helpful because I am such a beginner and a long beginner in meditation. He helps us understand the whole journey better because he has a way of explaining the nuances that you experience along the way. And I think he's a very eloquent, very humorous speaker. So that makes him a very, very good teacher. So go to his YouTube recordings and you will enjoy it. He's also doing an online retreat from the 24th to the 26th. I'm trying to find a registration clip to share with all of you, but I haven't been able to do so. Once I get it, I'll send it through Marcel. Yeah, thank you.
Do you have any, maybe one or two that you particularly like? One or two videos from Ajahn Viradamo?
I'll share when I think of it. Yeah, because I have been listening to quite a few. So yeah. But I think that the notable thing about Ajahn Viradamo is that his emphasis on this thing called awareness. Awareness is the knowing, and I think that to me helps a lot. Yeah, understanding his interpretation of awareness.
Okay, thanks for the vote of confidence with Ajahn Viradamo. Yeah, I think it's one of my favorite teachers as well. I think Shaw Mei was referring to this. Is it this one, Shaw Mei?
Yes. Okay, yes. And actually, he just completed a 3 to 10 day, 3 to 10th December online retreat in Thailand. He flew all the way from Canada to Thailand. And I have the link of all the recordings. So I'm going to share it through Marcel later. Even if you have no time, just listening to the daily Dharma talks is very useful. Yeah, I'll share it later.
Okay, thanks a lot, Shaw Mei. Okay, I'll share this link in the chat as well. Stop. Okay, anyone else would like to share? Yeah, Sister Akim, yes.
Actually, we registered for this retreat when Sister Siu Fong shared. It was in the SGC chat group.
Okay, yes, it is. Yeah, awesome. Great that you signed up. Okay, anyone else would like to add on?
Can I just ask a question?
Yes.
So just now from the clip, Venerable was saying about like this is my mother, right? So that is also some form of attachment. Am I right? And then when you say by contemplating on the death, it is just for impermanence, is it? And then that helped to release the attachment?
Well, I'm not sure if he's saying it with attachment. It's just a fact that it's her mom. It's his mom. So whether there's attachment or not, only he would know. But contemplating death, like we covered yesterday, especially the decaying of the corpse. Yes, you are correct. The purpose is to realize impermanence. Let me share quickly again. It was summarized beautifully with this last sentence. Okay, let's take a look. The contemplation goes like this. By any of these means, we can imagine the disintegration of the body with the aid of pictures or through direct confrontation with the corpse. This was what he was exactly doing, Ajahn Viradamo. Direct confrontation with not just any corpse, but the corpse of his mother, which makes it even more powerful. By any of this means, one obtains a clear mental image of decomposing body, considering this body now so full of life has the same nature and is subject to the same fate. It cannot escape death, cannot escape disintegration, but must eventually die and decompose. The aim here is not to indulge in death, not in a morbid fascination with death and corpses, but to sunder our egoistic clinging to existence with a contemplation sufficiently powerful to break its hold. The clinging to existence subsists through the implicit assumption of permanence. This is what you mentioned just now. This last sentence, I love it a lot. In the sight of a corpse, we meet the teacher who proclaims unambiguously, everything formed is impermanent. Does that answer your question? Okay. That's a good question. Thanks, Xinghui. Okay, anyone else would like to add anything before we wrap up for today?
Just a take on Sister Xinghui's question. I think Longpo Viradama was trying to articulate his own emotions and relationship with his mother. And I realized that this is something that the Ajahns do a lot, which is to break down those emotions into bit by bit so that we see it as if we're meditating on it, you know. And perhaps you're right. It leads us to seeing how he eventually does the separation and the detachment process. I wanted to share something else the other day when we were doing sexual misconduct? Something like that. Yeah, we were talking about the sexual misconduct a few days ago. And I was reading this, it's taken me such a long time to read Ajahn Chah, the story by Ajahn Chah called Stillness Flowing, compiled by Ajahn Jayasaro. And I was quite surprised that there was quite a huge paragraph on how Ajahn Chah dealt with his own sexual energies. You know, the words used were very very vivid. You know, it's as if you're reading it, reading a piece of material talking about the sexual act. And when the way it's put across is really understanding that energy that goes behind the negative energy that goes behind, say, sexual misconduct. So, and even so, we tell ourselves, you know, if after reading that, I told myself, wow, if Ajahn Chah had to go through all that, you know, what more the rest of us who are less advanced in our spiritual practice. Yeah, that's all.
That's very interesting to know. Now makes me interested to read the book. Thanks a lot for adding on, Shomei. Also, Shomei shared with me the playlist of the just finished Ajahn Viradama's retreat, 3 to 10 December. So I'll share this in the chat just to show you very quickly. This was what Shomei was referring to. Retreat from 3 to 10 December. 20 videos. Enough for how many days off? If you watch this daily, then it will take you like 20 days to finish. So thanks a lot for sharing all this, Shomei. Appreciate it. Okay, anyone else would like to add anything? If not, let's do a dedication. 愿消三障诸烦恼，愿得智慧真明了，普愿罪障悉消除，实摄长行菩萨道。Amitabha. Till we meet again, may we be guided by the Buddha, Dhamma, and the Sangha. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Have a restful Saturday ahead. Thanks everyone for joining this morning. I'll see you guys again next time. Have a good one.
Bye-bye.
Bye bye.
Bye-bye.